Today, I want to talk about something a bit different than what I usually do on this channel, but I want to share 5 big changes that clients experience when they work with or when they hire a digital business manager for the first time. I have worked with online businesses in different capacities for 2 years now, and I became a certified DBM in October of 2024. So since that time, I've been working with clients as a digital business manager, and each of these are essentially changes that you'll notice in how you operate, how you feel about running your business, and how you work inside of your business. So I want us to dive in with the first big change, which is that you're no longer doing things alone. And I know this is an obvious one, but typically as an online business owner, you are used to juggling all of these different tasks. You're used to handling all of the different decisions that go into making your business successful. But when you hire someone else, especially someone who is in charge of operations and the way things work in your business, you're going to have to adjust to working with someone else. You now have a partner in your business. So this is someone who is thinking about the success of your business, thinking about all of the moving parts. You're now going to have that weight lifted off of your shoulders. And from my experience, from feedback that I've gotten from clients, it's a really relieving experience to have. You're no longer the only person that is thinking about the best ways for things to work. You're no longer the only one making sure that content is scheduled and content goes out. You now have this partner that is in your corner, someone who is just on your side and who wants to bring your vision to life and everything that you envision for your business to life in the same way that you do. That is what you get when you hire someone who is ops obsessed and excited about systems and wants to manage projects and excited about launches. I'm literally getting excited talking about this right now, but this is the level of partnership that you get when you hire a digital business manager. It is something to adjust to, but I guarantee you will adjust just fine. But it is something to keep in mind. Now, having someone in your business is great. We just discussed that. But a DBM is only powerful if you're going to communicate and share and have things be transparent with them. And that brings us to the next big shift, which is you're going to notice that communication is going to become extremely important. Very, very important. When it's just you can keep everything in your head. You can make changes at midnight and it's not really going to affect different steps along the way. But when it is that you have someone who's especially managing operations and how things are done in your business, you need to keep them in the loop as well. Because if you don't, there's going to be a ripple effect of things that are going to happen that's not going to contribute to the success of your business. So this is definitely an adjustment, probably the biggest adjustment that it's going to take someone who has newly hired a DBM. When it's just you can keep everything in your head and that's okay. You can make changes at midnight and it's not really going to affect anything or change anything down the line. But when you do hire a DBM, it's going to be really important to communicate changes to them, to keep them in the loop so that any small changes that you make or that you didn't make, that's not going to affect things down the line. So this means communicating with your DBM and letting them know, for example, when you want to change something in an offer, when you're thinking about launching something new. But most of the time, I've actually seen this manifest when we use our project management tools. So it's going to become extremely important when you have a team to make sure that you are updating things like the statuses inside of a calendar, because These are actually our ways of communicating. Instead of sending, a message saying, hey, I have approved this, or hey, I have scheduled this. Once we change the status inside of our project management tool, for example, if you use Notion or ClickUp or whichever Asana, whichever one you use, but changing statuses, adding due dates, adding deadlines, these are all ways that we communicate. And it's going to take you a bit to remember that, okay, if I change something in my head at 12 midnight, I need to have that reflected in our PM tool and in our content calendars so that everybody in the team is on the same page. Now, apart from good communication, you want to be able to let go of certain tasks and distribute ownership of tasks, especially the tasks that are not in your zone of genius. So these are things that don't energize you. They are things that can easily be delegated, and it's going to be a change for you to let go of the tasks that you've been doing for years and years in your business and to hand that over to someone else. If we are being honest, handing over operational tasks, things that we've been doing ourselves for a long time, it's a scary thing. We might find ourselves asking, is this person going to do this correctly? Are they going to ensure that the end result is the same like I do? But I can assure you that having different systems in place, like standard operating procedures, guidelines, even a note that says, follow these different steps or follow this checklist when you've completed this task to ensure that everything is good. These are different ways that we can optimize our processes and really ensure that the end result that we're looking for is the one that we want. A DBM's job is to improve processes, to make things scalable, and essentially to ensure that you aren't the one doing all of these small tasks and all of the repeatable work in your business 24/7. So we try to create systems so that things can happen in a much more predictable and repeatable way. When you let go of tasks that aren't within your zone of genius, you might come to the realization that someone else can handle it, yes, but they might also be able to find a better and more efficient way of doing those tasks. Speaking of better systems, once you have let go of those tasks that are no longer energizing you inside of your business, you will notice that your DBM is incorporating and introducing new systems, right? New ways of doing things. Having new systems is another change that you're going to have to get accustomed to, especially in the beginning of working with a DBM. New systems looks like the SOPs that we mentioned before, creating these and having them be owned by someone and executed. It also looks like introducing new and better tools into the business, and of course, creating automations so that we can remove manual steps and have those be automatically completed using different automation tools. You will have to adjust to these new tools, but I promise you, once they are in place, you're really going to wonder, how on earth did I do this before without this system in place or without this tool? Because it's just going to save you so much more time and you're going to have a lot less manual work to be doing in the first place. The best part is that these systems aren't just there to look nice and to make things look organized, but when they are in place, it's actually going to give you the space to look at your business from the big picture angle and to be able to also look into the future at where you want to go. Which brings us to the last big change, which is that you're going to have more time to focus on your vision. When you're not buried in day-to-day operations, you can finally think about the direction that you want your business to go in and the kind of offers and products that will give your community the best possible results for them to get to the destination that they want to be in. This is when you start hitting bigger income milestones and goals, and you actually start enjoying your business again because you have the space to think strategically. And that is exactly what we as DBMs help you achieve. Not just time saved, but a completely different way of running your business. So with all of that being said, if you would like to know what it's like to have a partner in your business to take that operational load off of your shoulders, I will leave a link in the description where you can book a call to chat with me so that we can figure out what exactly having a DBM would look like in your business.